Prime Minister Perry Christie was not in Parliament last week when the vote was taken on the VAT bill. He had left the country for investment talks, and as Clint Watson tells us tonight, the move hasn't gone without some criticism, but the Prime Minister is fighting back.
As Prime Minister of the country, I have to make a judgment as to whether or not my presence is sufficiently important to remain.
And in the end, the decision was not to stay and vote, but instead to meet with major investors in Nevada.
I knew that we had the majority to pass the VAT bill. I knew I had personally led the preparation of the country for the VAT legislation. I knew I had met with the private sector in the Bahamas with respect to that. I know that we have to do more to prepare the government before the January introduction. I'm in the process now of solidifying and improving the team and the capacity to deal with the legislation. And so my colleagues knew that I wouldn't be there for the vote. I made a contribution and I left.
Prime Minister Christie says as the lead person on investments, it was important to make these meetings, one of which included the new hotel owners of one of the Bahama properties, SLS.
They were opening a new property in Las Vegas. I wanted to be present to see it, to encourage them, because they're coming in at the last moment to take over a property that Mondarian had had for years that was being constructed. And I wanted to be there. I wanted to meet with the companies that will be now involved in the new gaming regime that will give integrity to the gaming, with the minister responsible for gaming, Mr. Wilchcombe, and we did that.
Mr. Christie also met with Rick Fox and NBA promoters. He says whatever negative stigma is being attached to his absence is, in his words, rubbish, as the focus should be now on implementing VAT.
The fact of the matter is VAT will become the law of the Bahamas. It will come into effect in January. It is not going to have the negative impact that they say it's going to have. I'm going to make sure of that. When it comes to the protection of the poor, we are going to have new levels of policing in terms of pricing and prices to protect the poor. We're going to be very specific in terms of what we put in place.
Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.